What is going on, ladies, gentlemen, and those who sexually identify as a Russian helicopter? It is one of your GPC analysts, Trev the King here, and today I'm very excited to be bringing you all a match of the week. Now, if you don't know what match of the week is basically I take a game which maybe was voted on, maybe I decided this was the game I thought should be highlighted, and basically we highlight it on the GPC channel. And this goes up every week, either on Thursdays or Fridays. Basically, right before, like, the matches for the next week go up. So yeah, that is what match of the week is. It's basically highlighting. I basically want to highlight a game that I thought, or the people in the GPC thought was a game that should be praised for how good it was. And for this one, we have quite a doozy. We have, in this very first week, Melantosh and his executor. I'm sorry if I mispronounce any of these names. I'm not good at pronunciations. But executor, chief electivires, hopefully I'll get that sometime, versus Darby and the Charlotte Houndooms. Now, both of these teams, they look somewhat bulky. Darby's team, who is Crit Fisto on the other side, his team obviously looks a lot more bulky than Melantosh's team, who Melantosh takes it a bit more offensive, while Darby, it looks like his team is a little bit more centered around defensive purposes, although if that's an offensive Talonflame and offensive Ments, then it's about even in terms of bulk and offense, as well as maybe even offensive Reuniclus. This Darby's bringing a team that could be either all offensive, except for the possibility of Weezing and Mega Sableye. Those two would probably be defensive if paired together, no matter what. Or it could be all defensive Ments, Spadef, Talonflame, Defog, and Polion. However, on the other side, we have Melantosh, who, Jolteon's pretty much always offensive. Greninja's always offensive, or its lead spikes. We have Extra, which could be a Spadef variant, but it could also be like Choice Scarf, Band, Life Orb. Then we have a Mega Latios, which can go either way as well. And then we have Dusclops, which is always pretty much defensive because its offensive stats are pretty lacking. But why don't we get right into the battle to start off? So as we can see, Melantosh is going to lead with his Excadrill, as we see Darby lead with his Mega Sableye. He's going to Mega Evolve right away, go for the Wisp, miss the Excadrill as he gets up his Mold Breaker Rocks, which is why Rocks were able to go up if anybody was, didn't know about Mold Breaker going through Magic Bounce. But we see him go for a second Will-O-Wisp as Melantosh goes into the Sylveon, and then he doubles into Jolteon, possibly predicting a Metal Burst, possibly predicting a double, who knows, as he goes right back into the Sylveon, and as Darby went for the Nightshade. So Melantosh is keen on just stalling out, kind of feeling out what kind of player Darby is early game. As we see another Nightshade, as the Wish does come in, and now Sylveon is at +1/+1 at about 2/3 of its health. So, Melantosh is going to fire off a Wish here, and we'll see what Melon wants to do. He could stay in and go for Hyper Voice, seeing how he can live any hit, but he does decide to go into Latios, as this Weezing actually does set up the Toxic Spikes, which could very well hurt. It could weaken, wear down Greninja if it's Life Orb, Jolteon if it's Life Orb, wear down the Dusclops fast, as Dusclops' only form of recovery is Pain Split. But we see the Mega Latios fire off a Psychic on the Reuniclus, as the Reuniclus goes for a T-Wave. However, Melantosh may have predicted that and went into Sylveon. He might have just thought Sylveon was the best answer to this Reuniclus, as we see Darby go into his Empoleon, which turns out to be Balloon, which is going to be a fantastic check to the Excadrill until its balloon is popped. As we do see Melantosh go straight into the Excadrill, and we do see Darby go for the Defog, getting rid of his own Toxic Spikes, but also getting Rocks away for Talonflame and Salamence, as we do see him fire off Scald. I'm also going to move it down to slow so I don't have to commentate so fast. So, you know, Darby's going to switch out his Empoleon and go into the Mega Sableye, which, you know, depending on the set, could be a very good check to the Mega Latios if it's not running like, you know, or if it is running Draco and he could get a recover off. However, we do see the crit Para T-Bolt, and Melantosh decides to switch out of his Mega Latios, pretty much guaranteeing that he probably doesn't have anything to really hurt this Mega Sableye too much. He could still have the Draco, but he might have saw that it might have not killed, possibly. But at this point in time, it's looking like he probably doesn't have a Dragon type move, or at least Draco Meteor. As we see the Sylveon go for the Heal Bell, and then go for the Hyper Voice, which does not quite KO this Sableye, which is able just to go for the Nightshade, and Darby draws first blood in this very first match of the week. So we see Melantosh go directly back into Excadrill, possibly maybe get up rocks, but he doesn't take the risk of another Will-O-Wisp, risking another Will-O-Wisp. So he goes for the Rock Slide, takes out the Sableye clean. Probably went for a Rock Slide, maybe predicting Darby to get a little fancy and go into Empoleon, trying to save to make a Sableye. But we do see Rock Slide, breaks the balloon, does not get the flinch. The Skull does connect with the Excadrill, does not burn, does not kill, and this Earthquake is going to kill. Now, the crit probably didn't matter, judging by, you know, how well, judging by just how powerful Excadrill is. It could have mattered, but at this point, you know, who really knows how much it really mattered. It probably didn't matter, but if it did, well, that's really unfortunate, because he would have still had his Defogger around and Excadrill would have been dead. But we do see the Dusk Clops come in as the Talonflame fires off a Flare Blitz and U-turn in consecutive order, revealing that it is Life Orb, as well as that this Dusk Clops is probably Fizz Def, as well as it has Rock Slide for the Talonflame. So that's pretty decent thinking on Melantosh's part. Again, Dusclops is not the most offensive thing in the world. In fact, its offenses are pretty garbage, but, you know, 4 times weakness is a 4 times weakness. As we do see Darby go for the Toxic Bites on Melantosh's incoming Mega Latios switch, and then we see Melantosh double out into the Excadrill, possibly predicting something to come in, a switch, and Darby does go for the switch into the Reuniclus, as this Excadrill is able to get up rocks in return for its life. And Excadrill's down, and now it is back to 4-4, and Melantosh decides to go for the Jolteon play, goes for the Volt Switch, does not do a lot of damage. Really, this Reuniclus, I don't know if it's revealed Recover yet or something, but it's either AV or Spadef of some sort, and it does reveal the Recover right there if it hadn't before. So that means it's probably like pretty much max Spadef, as we do see a T-Bolt there, and that pretty much reveals that, you know, Melantosh either only has Draco, which if he had Draco he would have gone for against the Sableye before, or he, you know, has Dragon Pulse and doesn't want to reveal it yet. But my bet's on him not having the Draco Meteor or Dragon Pulse. In fact, he could be a Volt Beam set, possibly with Psychic Roostery attacks, as we do see the Greninja coming. Now, this Reuniclus can probably actually live a Dark Pulse because it's so Spadef, but he doesn't want to risk the Night Slash, which would do a lot more and possibly kill. Again, I don't know any calcs off the top of my head, but he could definitely live Dark Pulse. As Melantosh does go for a Dark Pulse, is it going to be able to 2-hit KO this season? However, that might be, Darby might be a little bit more, you know, relieved that it is special Greninja, or at least it's special, its Dark type stab is special. So what we're going to see here is we're going to see a switch into, or after the death of Weezing, Darby goes into Salamence, pretty much confirming that this Salamence is Scarfed because you don't bring, even Yachi Berry would die from this range to Life Orb Ice Beam from Stab, Life Orb Ice Beam from Greninja, as we do see the Outrage, and yeah, so now it's back down to 3-3, and we see Jolteon come in. It might be over, but it's not, because Jolteon reveals the HP Ice, also reveals that it is Scarfed as well, so Scarf Jolteon to possibly expecting these Scarfments, which, you know, if that was Melon's intent, then amazing prep on his part. As we see the Talonflame come in, and we see the Dusknoir switch into the Talonflame as Darby decides to go for Brave Bird, which, thanks to Dusclops' kind of measly HP stat, crazy enough, at 21% or whatever it was at, it actually lives Brave Bird plus Life Orb recoil. So what we're going to kind of see here is a little bit of stall war, a tiny stall war. Darby's trying to get health back as Melantasha is just trying to bring this Talonflame as low as he can go, as he actually goes for the Pain Split right here, which means he might not, I don't think he can live another Brave Bird unless it's a roll, possibly. As Darby goes for the Brave Bird, does kill, and now it's 2-2. Right here, there's actually an interesting play that was made. Darby actually decides to go straight for the Brave Bird. Now, he probably wasn't spit off Talonflame because he had Life Orb, obviously. But, you know, there could have been a possibility he could have gone for Roost, and he knew he was Scarf Jolteon because Scarfments got outsped, so he knew it wasn't Spec. So he might have been able to take a Thunderbolt well after the Roost removing his flying typing. But, you know, Darby obviously has this under control because he goes for the Energy Ball. Pretty much Melon had to bank off the fact that he would go for Recover, predicting him to try and get as much, or try to Toxic Stall him. But yeah, and now you might be questioning why not just go with, or stay with Greninja and win the game, because he wouldn't have won the game because Dark Pulse does not do anywhere near enough. Even with Shadow Ball plus Dark Pulse, it might have not been enough. It was a roll. Because again, sped out for Uniclus. But what a fantastic game by both players, and a fantastic finish, a 1-0 finish. You can see why this game was definitely deserving match of the week. Just a fantastic game. It's a little heartbreaking on Melon's side. I can kind of feel for Melon because he was up, and you know, honestly, when I first watched this game, I was like, why? But then I remembered, you know, spit after Uniclus. I was like, why would he make that play? And, you know, the commissioner of the league, Bob, also in the chat, you can't see it, but he was kind of like, he also was like, why switch? But, you know, it turns out that Shadow Ball, he was Scarf Jolteon, so he couldn't switch up moves. And Thunderbolt plus Dark Pulse guaranteed wasn't enough. And even Shadow Ball plus Dark Pulse, again, I believe was a roll. But now that we've seen the actual match, why don't we head over and check out the stats to this game. So we'll be right over there in a second. So here we are back with the stats for this first match of the week. And as you can see on Darby's side, Mega Sableye, Talonflame, and Salamence each picked up a kill, with Darby's clear MVP and probably the overall MVP for the match, definitely Uniclus, going 3-0. Very, very strong first week. And on Melon's side, we can see somewhat of a spread out. You know, 3 Mons picking up a total of 4 kills, as Talonflame did go down to its own recoil, so that was a kill that was lost on his side. But we do see Greninja, which, if you didn't realize, was XY Protean, which basically means you can't use tutor moves, but you can use Protean, which is pretty nice. Picked up 1 kill going 1-1. Extra picked up 2 kills going 2-1, and Jolteon picked up 1 kill. Surprise KO on the Scarf Salamence going 1-1. But yeah, that has been the first match of the week. I want to thank you guys for watching. Make sure you check out the rest of the GPC. You know, overall, we upload great content like power rankings, weekly recaps. You know, make sure you go check out Melon and Darby. Their links will be in the description below. You know, if you want to check out me, my link will be in the description below as well. But yeah, that'll be the first match of the week. So I want to thank you guys for watching, and it's been your GPC analyst, Trev the King, signing out. Peace, guys.